Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back and welcome to another social media and freelancing Q&A. All right, I'll just hop right into it. I asked for questions in my Facebook group, which is approaching 500 members. I'm so excited. I'm over 400 members in there, which is pretty cool. So definitely join if you haven't yet. We have some good conversation in there. And I think I want to do like a fun giveaway or some type of like virtual summit or something for when we hit 500. I know it's a small number, but it's big to me, okay? So anyway, I asked you guys on there and also on my Instagram, which is @ajourneyeast_. And here's what you said. What's your go-to when you feel totally overwhelmed? What gets you out of your head and back to it? I've been on a major struggle bus lately. Never enough hours in the day to get done with all the things, life, work, and socially. Would love to know how you handle this when it all starts to feel like too much. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, when you're freelancing, especially if you're in social media marketing like I am, social media, there's always something new to try. There's always some new story coming out. There's always, it's just overwhelming. A new technology, a new security brief, a new Instagram outage. Like there's always something going on. So that in itself can be a little bit hectic. So I think for myself, like personally, I just try to really stay calm and try to really like talk myself down from those situations. Like when the Instagram outage happened a couple weeks back now, I know a lot of people were freaking out. I even had people like friends of mine and stuff coming to me like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like I can't post for my client. Instagram is down. And I'm like, your client's gonna have to understand. They don't really have a choice because the entire platform is down, And so just kind of like talking yourself down logically, that helps me just to say, you know what, the world is not going to end if XYZ doesn't get done. My clients know how hard I work and we have a good working relationship. So if I have to explain to them that Instagram is down, they're gonna understand, I know you didn't ask specifically about Instagram being down, but just an example, like try to just calm yourself down and know that while the work that you do is incredibly important, you're not saving lives probably. So just calm down. I don't really talk about this publicly very often, but I struggle pretty badly with anxiety. I know that's like the YouTuber thing to say, but I do. And so my therapist has actually told me to really focus on breathing because when your mind is like racing all over the place, she's like, that's just energy that's not being expelled in the right way. So breathe, move your body. Those are just, my mindfulness kind of tips. But as far as the actual workload, prioritization is huge. And if you don't have some type of a task management system in place, whether it's a planner, whether it's a digital tool like Asana or Trello, even if it's just a to-do list that you keep on your planner or on your computer, whatever it is, make sure that you have some type of system so you know what needs to be done and that you can really prioritize things and move things around. I also block off my calendar so I know exactly, how much time I'm allotting to certain tasks. That's really helped me be more efficient. So I don't know, I feel like that was kind of a lot, but nothing at the same time. So I hope that at least sort of answers your question. How do you find inspiration for content? Great question as well. So my short answer is really just by being a participant of social media. I love social media. I pay attention to it. I am on almost every platform. But with that said, I think it's also important to not get overwhelmed by it and to not be just, obsessed with it. I think that sometimes I'll have Saturdays when I'm like, what did I do all day? I was just on my phone all day. Like, what a waste of a Saturday, And I don't think that's really very good for mental health either. So I do just pay attention to a lot of publications out there. I love Adweek because they have really good campaign ideas. It's not just the people that I follow in my feed, like pictures of them. It's pictures of campaigns for businesses that are really working. So I like Adweek. I follow all the social media blogs and stuff, social media today and things like that. And then Facebook groups. Facebook groups have also been huge. I don't really share a ton of campaigns in my personal Facebook group, but I know some of the other ones, people will say, oh, what do you think of this ad? Or here's an ad that ran. Just being involved in that community gives you a fresh perspective and just kind of allows you to keep a pulse on what other people are doing. Not to say that you're gonna copy, but just sometimes it sparks something in you that really makes sense. So yeah, that's really what I do. And I also pay a lot of attention to just the advertising world in general. I try to step outside of social too. Like I said, I follow like Adweek and stuff, but also just going to marketing conferences that aren't specifically for, social media or aren't specifically for influencers or like whatever, because you get a lot of inspiration from what Coke Coca-Cola, for example. I get inspiration for my own campaigns from them. It's just you're taking it and turning it into a different thing. Okay, so that was honestly it in my Facebook group. So let's slide down here to Instagram. How to determine if an influencer slash micro influencer is legit slash worth partnering with. Great question. I could probably do a whole video or podcast on this, and I think that I probably will, honestly, because this has definitely come to light after like the Fyre Fest documentary and the, you know, college scandal thing, you know, the YouTuber and Full House lady. I feel like this has been a hot topic of discussion. So, okay, number one, I think you really need to study these influencers and content creators for both sides, like, because it's really frustrating. I'm sorry, I have like dust flying around and I feel like it's like getting in my nose, landing on my hair. So if you see anything weird, and if I keep going like this, I apologize. But anyway, study them. It's good for both parties because as an influencer, I hate to call myself that, but like a content creator, influencer, whatever, it's so frustrating when I get emails from brands that are like, oh, hey, I see that, you know, you're new, I don't know, like you're new to social media marketing or something like that, when it's like, you clearly didn't know anything about me because I've been doing this for years, you know, just, it's very frustrating. Or when it's like, hey, do you want to review this lipstick? And it's like, I don't really do that. So definitely study them, but also it's good for you to really find true alignment because, you know, to that point, just because I'm a girl and maybe I showed lipstick once in a video out of 100 videos, I might not be the best candidate for if you want to do like a full-on tutorial and like get my audience to buy, you know, cosmetics. So don't just look at one video or one piece of content and run with it. Make sure to actually go and learn as much as you can about them on their other platforms and on their other pieces of content and all of that. So that's number one. Number two is engagement rate is a really simple formula, and it's really kind of the industry standard way of like, I don't want to say determining how legit an influencer is, but it definitely helps. So for example, if a, you know, creator has 1 million followers and they're only averaging 100 likes per post, they're probably not legit. Like they probably bought a lot of followers because your engagement should be on par. Now, engagement does go down the more followers that you get on average. So I'm not expecting them to have a 10% engagement rate if you have 1 million followers, but you should at least have like a 2 or 3 or something, you know, believable. I would say industry standard good or average is like about 2 or 3. Anything above that is really good. So I'll leave a link down below that teaches you how to calculate Instagram engagement rate. But I think that's kind of like the industry standard. And then also just getting on the phone with them, you know, understanding what they really want, understanding their motivations, because you really do want to be aligned and you don't want to work with people, or at least I don't when I'm helping brands do this. I don't want them to work with people who are just looking for a quick buck. I really want to develop long-term partnerships and, you know, just really be aligned with them. So I would say that. What platform do you use to schedule postings? If I had $1 for every time I got this question, I get this question all the time. And my short answer is, it really surprises a lot of people. Okay, well, I use Hootsuite and I use Buffer sometimes. Buffer is like, I wouldn't recommend it if you have a ton of accounts. I really just use it for myself, like scheduling my own personal brand stuff sometimes. Like I schedule all the notable branding, Facebook, Twitter, all that. I said Twitter really weird, Twitter. I schedule all notable stuff through Buffer just cause like we're not like this giant company. We don't, you know, whatever. But for clients, I use Hootsuite because I can manage things, like a lot of different things within there. You can direct post through Hootsuite. That's one of the biggest things I get for Instagram. You can direct post so you don't have to just get the post reminders. But my longer answer is, to be honest, I don't really schedule that much. I do schedule like tweets and Facebook posts, but Instagram, I really don't schedule. And I know people think I'm, you know, out of my mind, but I personally like to post natively for a lot of reasons. I found a lot of weird things happen with these tools, and this is all anecdotal, but I just find like whenever my clients have problems, like they get locked out of their accounts or, you know, whatever, it's always with a third-party tool for some reason. It's like, and it just weirds me out. And then also the second reason is because I like to, when I post, I like to then take like 15 minutes and engage. So I'll post something and then I'll go through the hashtags that I just posted with and like things, comment things, whatever, to help generate engagement for that post. Go through our feed and like things, maybe post a story or two. So yeah, it's time consuming. I don't take a lot of clients anymore where I'm managing their social media day in and day out. I do a lot more coaching and training. My coaching program is open for enrollment if anyone's interested. By the way, soft plug. So yeah, I understand if you're handling 20 accounts, that might not be feasible. But what I do is I just add a calendar, like a 15-minute calendar block, and just say, you know, post 1 for X client, post 2. And I mean, if this is what you're doing all day, 15, 20 minutes, 2-3 times a day isn't that much. So yeah, that's my long answer. How do you choose a niche to focus on when you're just starting out as a social media manager? So I think that there's a couple of things here. I think number one, what have you done in the past? Because you're gonna need to prove yourself somehow. You're gonna need to prove that you are credible and that you understand, you know, certain industries and that you're capable of doing the job, right? So you know, before I started in social media, I was working in retail. So I didn't do this, but if I were starting it again, you know, starting over, I randomly fell into freelancing. So it wasn't planned, but if I was really truly planning to do this and to like pitch myself, I would probably reach out to local boutiques, you know, smaller boutiques, so I could sort of take what I learned from my retail experience in bigger stores like Victoria's Secret and Maurice's, and, you know, scale those down for a boutique because I have experience with, you know, all of that stuff. So that's one option that you can do. Also nonprofits. I was an intern for a scholarship, a nonprofit. So that's something that I have thought about doing, and I haven't done a lot of it paid, but I have thought about getting more into that space because I really like helping people and things. So again, just drawing from those experiences is good. But also you have to kind of try different things to figure out what you really like, because I mean, I could have done retail, you know, I could have done boutique social media marketing or whatever, but what if I didn't like it? So I think you really do just have to kind of test the waters. And that's one of the reasons that I do just recommend like trying smaller projects here and there. Every single project that you get isn't going to be a lifelong client. You know, you're not going to want to stay with them for years, and they might not want to stay with you for years, and that's okay. I think the great thing about freelancing is that you get to try out so many different things. So yeah, you don't need to like pigeonhole yourself into one niche just starting out. I think you can kind of play around and figure out what you like with time. Okay, just 2 more left. Should I have clients pay before or after the work is done? Before, always. Always try to get paid before has been my experience. Sometimes it does make sense to do hourly work, but really only sometimes. There's very few times when I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And also when you're first starting out, I understand a lot of people do kind of get into that type of billing because it's just easier for them for some reason. I get it, but I don't at the same time. I think sometimes like if you don't know what to charge, for example, but you know how much 1 hour of your time is worth, sometimes it can be easier to charge hourly because you're not sure about like a package price. So if you need to kind of charge hourly to figure out, you know, approximately how much time it takes you to manage social media for a brand or something like that, I think that's fine to do for a couple clients till you get sort of an average and you can be comfortable charging package prices. But overall, charge at the beginning. For my Squarespace design clients, I do charge them a deposit. So I do half upfront, half at the end, because they're getting something. They're paying kind of for a product, not so much. It's part service, part product. So I pay for a deposit to make sure that they're not going to ghost me and I'm not going to build a whole website for them for nothing. But I also let them pay half at the end because they need to also hold me accountable and make sure that I'm not just going to take their money and run. Not that I would ever do that. So it's kind of twofold there, but for like social media management and stuff, definitely at the beginning. All right. And last question is really not related to freelancing so much, but was just an interesting question. Impact of easily available social media and outlets using it to get a story first rather than the truth. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a problem. I think it's one of the implications of social media. I think social media is more good than bad, but I definitely think that there are some things that, you know, we need to be more responsible about. And even me as somebody like who is a social media manager, and I also went to school for political science, so I'm like very interested in news. I actually wanted to be on the news. That was my original career goal. So not to say that doesn't mean anything, but I've been trained in journalism to some degree. I still do things sometimes that make me not proud of myself necessarily. Like for example, there was a reported shooting in a couple towns over like a couple weekends ago, and I shared it to alert my friends in that town, like be safe, and it turned out that it was balloons. And so if I would have waited 5 or 10 minutes before sharing that, you know, I perpetuated that, you know, I perpetuated that false reporting basically, and I shared it too. And so yeah, I think that we're all a little bit guilty of that. And I think as social media professionals, you know, I'm not in the news, so I don't really share stuff like that very often, especially not for clients or anything. That was just shared to my own personal like Twitter. But yeah, I think we need to be careful about it. I think that, and you know, when you are doing things or sourcing things for clients, for example, it's really important to triple check your sources. I don't post things for my clients that are just, you know, off the top of my head, or that are like, there's one source and it's some random blog or something. Like, I really try to make sure that I'm sharing true reporting and knowledge and all of that stuff, because it's really important to do that. So anyway, my phone is blowing up right now. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go. I think that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and check the links in the description box for some of the things I mentioned, including my coaching program, justadjourney.com/coaching if you're interested in working one-on-one. You can also subscribe to this channel. I would love it if you do. I post videos every single week on social media, marketing, and freelancing, and my life, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thanks for dropping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.